Airstream's got such a good name that you know it's going to hold together. I didn't want to pull a piece of junk down to the desert and wonder about whether it was going to fall apart.
I like trailering because no matter where you are, how far you've traveled, you pull over to the road, you stop, and you're home. You're always at home.
Movement has always been central to the American character. Keeping the frontier spirit alive for the air-conditioned generation is the Airstream trailer. The distinctive silver bullet is the 20th century's answer to the covered wagon. Still in production after nearly 60 years, its superior aerodynamics and build have ensured its survival in the competitive recreation vehicles market. It was in the late 1920s that people first began to use trailers for fun. Mobile weekenders, known as tin can tourists, escaped the crowded cities of the Northeast and set up camps in the southern states. At this time, people mostly built their own trailers using scrap materials. Wally Byam was the flamboyant and charismatic inventor of the Airstream Caravan. The plans of his first attempt at a trailer were published in Popular Mechanics magazine. Such was the demand that Byam began to supply kits of the trailer as well as the blueprints. The cheapest way for people like Doc Holman to have a traveling holiday was to build themselves a trailer. He still has the one he put together in 1934. It's a very rare example of Byam's early design.
I wanted to travel, and I saw an ad in the Pop Mechanics magazine advertising the plans for this trailer for $5. And so I bought the plans, and I still have the plans inside the trailer. I want to tell you something about the rear end of this trailer. If you notice, this is very high off the ground. And the reason for it, when this trailer was first built, many roads had dips and were fairly rough. And this would keep it from dragging the ground. Now, the way I got this aluminum top taut, I anchored the front end, and I took a winch and put it down on the axle. There's one of the tabs right there that I winched this tight with right around. The original shape of the Airstream gave it its name as teardrop or torpedo Airstream. And if you notice, the roof is similar to that of an airplane. And the faster you go with this trailer, the lighter it is on the wheels. I want to tell you something about the interior of this trailer. I did not paint it, and I got an automobile shop to paint this interior of this trailer. And it's as bright and as shiny as it ever was, and all I've ever done is wipe it down with a terrycloth towel. It's never been even polished. Now, this is just my original, you might say China storage, but that is some of the original plastic that I bought at the dime store. That there cost probably 15 cents. It's a most wonderful vehicle of this type I've ever seen. I have had this trailer for 58 years, and I still marvel at the roadability. There's no sway, no fishtailing.
Throughout the 1930s, trailer designers looked to aircraft construction techniques for inspiration. They adapted the streamlined shape of the aeroplane, bringing aerodynamics to the trailer. The Road Chief, a rival of Airstream, was the most streamlined trailer of all. Built by respected glider designer William Hawley Bolus, it had one major flaw. Its doorway was behind the towing hitch, making access awkward. Primarily an engineer, Bolus failed to develop the Road Chief commercially. Wally Byam wasn't an engineer, but he was a genius at marketing. He developed the Road Chief, adding improvements of his own. The Airstream Clipper was born.
It's a 1937 Airstream Clipper. It was built in Los Angeles, California from a 2024 aircraft type aluminum alloy. The original Airstream was way ahead of its time. It was shaped for aerodynamics and for better towability. Very streamlined, made out of all flat sheet, contoured, riveted inside and out, structural alloy bows. Very similar to aircraft construction in those days. You know, had large eyebrows over all the windows. And then in the front, they had to be made out of plexiglass because of the shape of the front. And as you can see, all these segments were cut out of flat sheet, contour, cut, and then riveted up.
Wally Byam started the Airstream back in the mid-30s, and I think he developed the Airstream trailer as a result of his desire to teach people a way of life, of traveling, of exploring the world. Back in those days, I think in the 30s, it was more of a free spirit time when a man could do these type of things. Back in those days, when Wally was around, I think it was more of a dream, and as a result of the dream, you opened a factory and you manufactured something to make people's dreams come true.
The very thing that made the Airstream desirable, namely its all-aluminium bodywork, was to dramatically halt its production. As America entered World War II, aluminium was placed on a restricted materials list. Aircraft companies were given priority status and production of the Airstream ceased. It wasn't until after the war that the trailer industry revived. Demand for trailers was fueled by returning servicemen needing homes. Aluminium was now de-restricted, and Wally Byam was free to re-enter the market and develop his trailer in earnest.
One of the things that Wally Byam did in the trailer design was to drop the floor of the trailer down to just on top of the axle, so the wheels were above the floor. Part of the wheel was above the floor. You had a wheel well in there that made more room in the trailer, and it was a stable platform for towing.
Unlike his rivals, Byam believed that trailers were for going, not staying. But travel didn't have to mean roughing it. His great innovation was to make the interior of the Airstream as comfortable as any home. In the 50s, this meant all mod cons. The finish of these Airstreams was highly polished. They were the perfect partners for the huge chrome automobiles that towed them. With a successful factory established in Van Nuys, California, Byam now developed his way of life philosophy. Essentially, to put an idealized American lifestyle on wheels and send it round the world. His customers loved it. Sporting blue berets and membership numbers, they formed themselves into the Wally Byam Caravan Club. There was an almost messianic belief in trailer travel and in Wally himself.
Wally Byam was a brilliant man, very energetic, very innovative. The man just came across to you like hypnosis almost.
And this blue beret is the symbol of a unique kind of comradeship in adventure. A Wally Byam caravan is a traveling democracy. At regular meetings, the caravanners decide by vote where they will go and how long they will stay. And Wally conducts these meeting times with his beloved caravanners, counts the votes, and announces the plans that include all kinds of special events, because everywhere they go, they are entertained and feted. Caravanners enjoy loads of extras not possible for the single traveler.
Wally was a showman and not averse to using the showbiz techniques of Hollywood or its personnel.
Hello, I'm Vincent Price, your host for Caravan Around the World, the fabulous story of a Wally Byam caravan. The Wally Byam caravanners are an informal group of people from all walks of American life who simply like to travel.
These caravans combined the adventure of travel with the safety of numbers and were often led by Wally Byam himself. Clay and Esther Garrison followed him on a Mexican tour in 1957 when the Pan American Highway was still incomplete.
The road had been washed out in the El Tapone area, and for that reason we had to ride 175 miles on this train. And they're now loading the cars. Now this is our car and trailer coming up onto the railroad. It's a Cadillac car, and I had just bought it brand new before we went to Central America, and the trailer was brand new. It's a 1957 model.
While we were traveling way down Central America, there were very few road signs, and each caravaner had a bag of flour or something, and as we made a turn where we threw the flour out, and that was the direction the next caravaner was to go.
We've had about 75 flat tires. When they got to Guatemala City, we had to buy 20 new tires, and of course we bought some after that. Well, the trailers got through real good. It's surprising how well the trailers took it, and we didn't have any problems at all to speak of. Now this is Wally Byam down at Chautauqua, and they're getting ready to go on their trip from Cape Town to Cairo in Africa. And that's Wally Byam with his gold trailer, and you can see his head sticking out of the top. He had it fixed so he could get up there and take motion pictures.
Between 1951 and 1960, Wally Byam and his followers caravaned the globe. One of the longest trips was Cape Town to Cairo. 102 people in 36 trailers spent 7 months battling with dried-out riverbeds, jungle tracks, mountain ranges and the Sahara Desert. It was an impressive display of Airstream durability. In Ethiopia, Emperor Haile Selassie, the King of Kings, enjoyed Airstream hospitality in Wally's golden trailer.
It was Wally's own personal trailer that he took from Cape Town, Africa, up through Ethiopia. I originally built it in 1957. Now I'm rebuilding it, which is quite an experience too. When Wally was here, he would come by and see any rivet that was marked. He would take that, put a grease pencil around, mark it, and the next day we had to come in and take those out and put new ones in if they didn't suit him. So this was part of what Wally had us do.
I remember him in the early 50s, very demanding person, very concerned about the quality of his products and how the employees constructed them. If they weren't done properly, he'd literally kick the furniture out the door and say, okay, now let's build it the way I want it built.
Byam drove his factory hands hard, but on the caravan adventures it was the Airstream that was driven to near destruction. He saw the trips as extended research and development with instant feedback from the Blue Berets. The axle was under the greatest strain. Byam improved it by adapting a German design which he refined in his own works. It is still in use today. Rubber rods are deep frozen, molded and packed around the axle. As the rubber thaws, it expands and clamps the central axle firmly in position.
The rubber torsion type axle has fewer moving parts and is almost like an indestructible suspension system. Unlike the leaf spring that could break and let the vehicle down. It's flexing the rubber between the inner metal and the outer core of the axle. It gives you your suspension system. It gives a much softer ride.
With the single axle, that back trailer's going like this and it's causing the car to go like that, and then you'll also get some sway back and forth. With the tandem axle, you don't have as much of that up and down movement because everything is evened out more.
For almost 40 years, the Airstream axle has been a key selling point. Improved road holding and less driver strain have made it as much a company hallmark as the Silver Bullet styling.
This has got to be the best towing trailer on the road today, fifth wheel or any of them. I don't have the movement going down the road that a square-sided trailer has from wind resistance. I get better gas mileage towing this style of trailer. I don't feel lorries when they pass me, either coming at me or going around me. I do not feel them as much with my trailer as I would with a square-sided trailer. I don't feel that rocking back and forth of the trailer whipping me.
The basic construction of the Airstream travel trailer is pretty much similar to what it was in the 1950s.
Wally Byam died in 1962, leaving the company to his partners. Since then, it has been through a variety of owners. In 1980, it was bought by coach builders Thor Industries and is now based in Ohio. Production levels have dropped from a peak of 24 a day in 1972 to just 2 a day now, but the present-day Airstream is a more exclusive product.
Smallest Airstream is a 21-footer, starts at basically close to $30,000. You can buy a wood frame trailer, same size, and you're going to be right around $15,000 or half price. The difference is going to be 10 years down the road. That Airstream is going to be worth $20,000, where the wood frame trailer is almost worth nothing. When you get to the 34-footer, people will spend at least a half a year in them. They travel around. They travel in caravans in groups. There's always the old thing, safety in numbers, and they travel together. Very seldom do you see Airstream just weekend only, and that's because of the investment involved.
For young families that only have maybe a 2-week vacation a year, to buy a trailer such as this and to set it in the driveway and only use it two weeks out of the year for their vacation is not a financial feasibility to do that.
It's the same people that would buy a Cadillac compared to a Ford or Chevrolet. The family's gone, they don't make bunk beds in an Airstream. They're not a family trailer. They're a 2-people trailer.
This section of the trailer is where we spend most of our time during the day. The couch can be made into a bed. Underneath the couch is a storage drawer where we store bedding, extra supplies. And this is a panel, a very interesting feature, whereby you can check the contents of your tanks. Your fresh water indicator shows we are 1/2 full of fresh water. The holding tanks. This is where we prepare the food. We have our refrigerator where we keep these are our frozen meats and dinners. This is a stove, and it has 4 burners. This is a slide-in pantry. Very convenient. All our canned goods can be stored in there and even stacked without risk of rolling around while you're traveling. It also has a lock on the door that prevents it from accidentally sliding open. And here's the bedroom. We have storage over the beds, and we have shirt closets on each side. This is a very comfortable bedroom, and one of the reasons is the airflow. We have the windows, and we also have a skylight that's available.
Byam's dream of travel for all is kept alive by a devoted club membership. This group of Blue Berets are together for a 4-week trip through New Mexico and Arizona. This is John Wayne country, where wagon masters still prevail.
This is the Wally Byam Caravan leader to all Wally Byam Caravan units.
We're on the open highway. We're going to maintain a speed of 50 miles an hour.
Caboose, if anyone is having any trouble and they have pulled over to the side of the road, would you please stay with them until we can resolve the problem?
This is Caboose, Jerry. Everything is all right. We've just turned onto Highway 89. There are no stragglers. Everyone is on the road. Over to you.
We have to be the last in to make sure that everybody else is in.
Sure. When we decided to have a trailer, we bought other makes, big square makes, and we had two rather nasty accidents, you know, where we rolled over. And in fact, I made up my mind not to live in a trailer anymore, not to travel in a trailer. And then one day on the road, we saw all these silver trailers coming towards us, and I was looking at the drivers, and they looked so old. And I said to Bessa, look at those old people driving those big silver trailers. I said, if they can do it, I can do it. We were in show business, of course, and traveling to different places. We'd work for about 50 weeks a year and traveling at least twice a week. And staying in motels and hotels was impossible. And the trailer was just perfect for our situation.
Also in the group are Blue Berets 25416, Jean and Betty Ray Hecht. Their triple-axle 36-footer is the subject of Jean's restless attention.
In order to eliminate getting ants in our unit, I devised aluminum rods, which I purchased at the hardware store, bent them up, had them welded together. You drive those in the ground, there's loops at the top, can hold your electrical line, your water line off the ground. No ants get in. This is a factory-installed unit. It's the way the trailer came, the only way you could get it. You were supposed to reach back up in here. Now, what kind of storage can I get back here? Nothing. So I said, well, why don't we put a door in there? So I bought the door from Airstream, I put it in. What it did for me, gave me perfect room to put all the tools I use. This is my water tools for when I hook up the water. These are my electrics for when I have different types of sockets to plug into. I can use any of these sockets. We couldn't duplicate this if we went to get a new one from the factory because of all the items that we've added. This is from my '69 Airstream. We're going to jack it up a little bit. We have to raise the 4 body jacks. These are used to stabilize the unit when you're camping. Otherwise, the unit shakes and it puts all, you don't do it, puts all the weight on the tongue, and that's not good. So we raise this. Normally, you do this with a hand crank. But this is a lot easier. Okay, we're going to attempt to back up without the help of my wife. I've erected a mirror on the front of my hitch jack so that I can see the ball of the vehicle and the hitch of the trailer. Hopefully, if I line them both up at the same time, we'll have a successful operation. Okay, yeah, that looks pretty good. Looks like the wife saver worked again. Now we'll remove the covers so we can hook up. We have a cover for the ball hitch, and we got a cover for the anti-sway unit. This stops some of the swaying going down the highway.
Having toured all our lives, you know, travel, I don't think we could stay in one place and be really relaxed and happy. I really don't think so.
In the pioneer days, mobility meant survival and the promise of a better life. The expectations may be a little less ambitious today, but the pull is just as strong.
Well, I think mobility is a part of the American culture. From the time a child is in the first grade, he's fallen in love with automobiles and his dad's car. And by the time he's a teenager, he wants to learn to drive, and he'll often get a part-time job and buy his own car. I think that's part of the culture of this country, wanting to be mobile, wanting to see what's over the next hill.
And it's in you. Our parents were horrified with this when we left. They said, the poor children. But when the second one got her master's degree, they changed their minds. Because they say gypsies. Well, there is gypsy in my side, way back. But it's there, and it draws you and draws you.
The love of moving.
Always there's something more on beyond the horizon.
But not all Airstream owners belong to the ranks of the Blue Berets.
I don't like living in the same place all the time. Same reason I do the construction work that I do. I don't like to be at the same place all the time. So the Airstream just suits me perfect. I can pack up and go whenever I want. Without the trailer, I'd have to be renting an apartment or something like that, and you're just not as mobile. Like, it's hot here now, and I'm planning on going up north in a couple of weeks. I wouldn't be able to do that without the trailer. On the way down here, coming through the desert, about halfway between Blythe and Needles, like 90 miles from the nearest town, I pulled off the side of the road to make myself a sandwich And what looked like a good spot to pull off turned out to be almost like quicksand. Was darn near like the sand in the bottom of a fish tank. As soon as I pulled off, I sunk to my axles. And I stayed there for 3 days. I almost lost hope until on the third morning, a road crew came by with road graders and tractors and everything, and they finally pulled me out. Yeah, I'll never get rid of the Airstream because, well, it'd be like getting rid of myself. It's me.
Well, full-timer is someone who lives exclusively in their trailer. Haven't gotten rid of a static home, a stationary home. My only home now is the trailer that I tow down the road, and it goes with me wherever I am, so that I'm always home. If you're used to having roots, and if you feel that you have to maintain your roots, it is a feeling of loss in that case. Full-timing is not for everyone. I think I like the sense of freedom, the lack of worry from taxes, and I like to travel just by myself. I occasionally go into caravans, but when I'm traveling, it's usually just me and my trailer alone. But I stop in many camps.
Campgrounds act as community centres and provide a safe place to stop overnight. Most Airstreamers are retired people who would rather wear out on the road than rust out in a house.
RV Park, which is just outside the gate of the main entrance into Bryce Canyon. And we're going to try to move your departure time up a little bit. Not on Arizona time, we are going to leave on Utah time. And of course, we will arrive there on Utah time. Okay. Let's go take a trip.
This is Vincent Price saying thank you for watching, and may all your travel dreams come true.